Alright guys, just trying to figure out how to... Alrighty, just gotta figure out how to get a dual live going. Good morning from wherever you are. Okay. Hey, just trying to figure out how to get you on. I can get you on a dual live, I've seen it. Oh, sweet. Yes! We did it! Alright. Request sent. Oh, I believe you sent the request back to me. Hey, Elizabeth.
Hi guys, I'm just figuring this out.
How do you guys get... Oh my gosh. You figured out, I don't know. That's amazing. Hey.
Hello there.
Oh, good to see you. How so much to unpack. I've been meaning to get on, chat to you. Like, you got obviously so much experience, so much knowledge. And I just love hearing you speak. So I was thinking, let's get you on. Let's just chat, law of attraction, right? I for years, I'm really on mindset stuff. I love talking about positivity, and I do talk about that stuff. But I'm interested to know how did you become a coach? How did you start helping people? Things like that. While I just have a sip of my coffee.
Look, I have my green tea. Oh.
Cheers.
Cheers to you. Thanks, Andrew. Thanks for doing this. Okay, how did I start being a coach? Great. So I was kind of in. I started like I think a lot of people did is when I watched The Secret like forever ago, and
Oh yeah.
I was in a place where a lot of changes needed to be made, but I was not willing to or very afraid to make them, and I just couldn't see, past it.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I like slowly let that absorb because like I knew it was one of those things I think a lot of people felt that was like, okay, like I've known this all along, but now someone from the outside is telling me, so
Yeah.
that now it confirms that it's not just me, because you kind of think all along maybe like, is this like something I just have in my head that when I think of something it pops up
Yeah.
or you know? So
Yeah.
yeah, I slowly over the next few months, and I'd say the next year after that was like a huge transition for me because it was really about like allowing myself to kind of enjoy the idea of things I prefer in my life. I think that's what really changed things for me. It was because like it kind of shifted the guilt away, like it made it lighter, like the
Sure. Yeah.
guilt of choices I had made that I was stuck in or that I felt guilty about doing anything about, things like that. It made me realize that okay, so the life is not all about feeling bad. Like like I can
No, not at
actually
all. Jeez, no, I hope not. Just for people that join, we're basically it's like this is like a Q&A live, just law of attraction. We've got Amin. She's super knowledgeable about this stuff. I love
I
this
hear
stuff
you.
too, obviously. If you have any questions, actually, if you know what the law of attraction is, just hit like right in the chat. Like,
Yeah, and let us know where you're joining from because Andrew and I are joining from different parts of the world. I'm in Los Angeles. I think you're in Brisbane, Australia, right,
oh my
Andrew?
gosh, yeah, you wouldn't think it. Like looking at the sky, it's actually normally sunny, but yeah, it's nice. Like it's you in LA, obviously.
Yeah,
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 yeah. So I don't know. Like I'm
absolutely.
sure. Yeah, I see some of you guys. Like you guys are in Europe. You guys are mostly in, I would say, Europe and South America. Yeah. So you were talking about how you got into it. I think it's funny. I believe with a lot of mindset stuff or even law of attraction. Like initially, you're not really you don't really maybe believe it or see it happening. So it's like, well, does this stuff really work? Like, and why should someone even care about it? Like, if like my life is going great, like I read personal development stuff. If I read Tony Robbins motivational stuff, why do I need law of attraction? Like, and I know my answer, but I just want to I want to hear your answer.
Yeah, so I think maybe you'd agree. I don't know that I think the biggest answer, or the most like the thing that makes the most difference, is that you don't have to struggle to succeed. And
Oh
it's
God.
kind of, I'm not saying Tony Robbins preaches it. I honestly don't know a lot about Tony Robbins' work, but I think it's less about motivation and more about inspiration and letting things kind of flow with ease,
Yeah.
as opposed to like pumping yourself up. It's more of like an underlying um, knowledge that you have source energy flowing through you, and you
Yeah.
don't need anything outside of you to support you if you don't feel supported. Because if you support yourself and you feel supported, period, you
Yeah.
will, manifest people around you who support you. So it's less about reaching for things outside and reaching for evidence, and just more about letting things flow through you. I think that's the main difference. And plus, like, law of attraction is not something that you activate, because a lot of people say activate, and I totally get why that's used. Even Jack Canfield uses that because it gets the message across of what you're trying to say. But
Yeah.
law of attraction is always activated. Like, you can't stop it. You can't.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, yeah, you can't like tap out of it and be like, I'm gonna like not use this for a little bit, or
Yeah.
I'm not gonna use it. It's a constant thing, and
Yeah.
that's why it's to our benefit to like kind of get how it works. And you don't have to become like this like super knowledgeable expert on it.
Yeah.
You don't have to. It's just about being mindful and like paying attention to what you're feeling and then what you're thinking.
Yeah.
That's probably making
So,
you feel that
I
way.
want to interrupt you quickly. If you just join, just type in where you're from. I see there's like a few people come on, like so we know roughly. Like at the moment, I'm seeing like people come on the screen, so it's super cool. So that's cool. Like we're just saying with law of attraction, like you should care about it because it's always there, like whether you want it or not. Like it's not like I'm not gonna talk about that stuff, but like if you ignore, it's not there. Like it's always happening. So if you're gonna like if you're gonna live your life, you might as well make it work for you. So, okay. So, like, guys, if you have any questions, just hey Agatha, just like type in the chat. Like, you're literally getting a free consultation. Like, because if you guys don't ask questions, I'm just gonna ask questions.
Yeah, feel free to ask any questions,
Yeah.
because I think that's like what's most popular, because people,
Yeah.
a lot of you guys already know a lot of this stuff, and that's the kind of the thing. It's like the more we know, the more we want to know.
Yeah.
So
Oh, good comment. Yeah, law of attraction is always working, so we might as well be intentional so that we manifest good things in our lives. Yeah, awesome. Yeah, that's so true. Like, do you have any stories of, I guess, this client confidentiality when I was working in health? Like, can't tell all the stories, but like, was there a story that sticks with you, like that you like a client of yours or a customer like just had the best experience? So like relationships, like everyone cares about relationships, right?
yeah,
Or money.
that's what I
I
was
like money.
first getting to. I want to turn to relationships because that's the most conversations I have with
Yeah.
people, and it's the exact same process for anything. But example wise, I usually turn to relationship, and so I mean, it's gone from someone being, see, you can't say completely hopeless to having what they want, like thinking this person won't show up for them, being completely hopeless, and then they show up saying, look, I want everything with you, and that's the example I want to give. But I want to give like a little disclosure, because when I say people are hopeless, then they wouldn't be coming to me in the first place. So you gotta see that there's always like hope underlying like the desires that we
Yes.
have, and that's like that little bit of hope. Even if someone comes to me and they seem on the outside like they're desperate or they feel like they don't have hope, I think those are the best stories. And that, I mean, there's a few that fall in that category, and that's what I really want to bring up, because if you were actually hopeless, then you wouldn't be here asking questions, or you wouldn't be having a call with me, or you wouldn't be reading about this stuff, watching this stuff on YouTube. So you may
Yeah.
feel like you're occupying a state of hopelessness or desperation, but the fact that you're persevering and you're still willing to learn, and the suffering is optional, but the
Yeah.
fact that you keep returning to it and you keep being open to it, it takes, as long as you have a desire, the hope is underlying right there, and you just kind of use that tiny speck that's only visible sometimes. Abraham says that comes through the crack, that those cracks in time when we're not being, negative or being doubtful.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you just let tiny sliver, of like hope come through, then the exact thing you want with no compromises will show up. And those are the situations that I think are the best examples that I've experienced with people, whether, some are clients obviously, but a lot of people are just people who ask questions. And sometimes people need less work than you think they need. Sometimes just a little bit of mindset shift, a little bit of different perspective is exactly what they need. And it goes from looking like they have nothing or they don't have what they want to, a month later or 2 months later, just everything they want shows up for them. And they acknowledge that how it happened, and they're now able to use that in any area of their life.
So I think that's super important. I would just like summarize for people that just joined, like, no matter where you think you are, there's hope. And it's very reasonable. Like, and when we talk about law of attraction, it doesn't respond to what's happened, your vibration or your vibe, if you want to call it good vibes. That's huge these days. Everyone's got the t-shirts and hats and stuff. Like, it doesn't respond necessarily to the past vibe. It's responding to what you are now. You can change whatever you want now. Like, every self-development mentor, whether you follow like Tony Robbins or inspiration, like, they're basically saying to you, you can change now. And that's really great for people that feel like, oh, I'm too old, or like, I'm in a really crappy place and I can't, like, you can always change and find we talk about relationships. So we're talking about relationships. You can always find someone. There are billions of people on the planet, but sometimes, like you said, like sometimes you just need a reminder, right? Like,
we all need reminders. Like, it doesn't matter how much you know, and it doesn't even matter how much you've manifested. Like, you always need reminders. That's why, for example, like Napoleon Hill said, the importance of repetition. Bob Proctor says it's like, it doesn't matter how much you think you know. It's just that you have a lifetime of conditioning, mental conditioning, until you kind of uncovered this. Just because you fell into it doesn't mean that now all of a sudden everything is magically like done for you. I mean, you have to actually change your tendencies of the way you think. And it sounds like hard work, but it's not, because it takes just a little bit of mindfulness to be like, hey, if I'm feeling like this in my body right now, like if I'm feeling tense, like why? And then you just think, okay, wait, what was I thinking about right now? And you get the answer. It's like super simple.
Yeah. So, okay, so say like someone, I know that there's, like, everyone goes through it. Like, I go through challenges too, right? Like, I'm a pretty happy guy. Like, I post like uplifting things because, it's kind of also for me too, right? Because I am what I put out and I attract what I put out. And that's why, like, the people that come on, they're awesome people. Like, I see Benny, Diana, like, they're really cool people. Like, I've had chats with, and I can feel the energy even if I've never met them. So anyway, my point is, like, for someone that wants to take that, okay, we're talking about being positive. We're talking about, okay, how do I attract something into my life? Like, how would you, first thing, just really simple, like, we've been reading about this stuff for years. We know it, like, and you do it for a job. Like, how do you get what you want? Okay, just step one.
I think that the positivity is for ourselves. And if we start seeing that we have to be positive in order to get what we want, it trips you up a little bit. It's a bit of a paradox. So it's like, okay, like, yeah, definitely positivity. Look, that's what draws people to you, Andrew, because you're positive energy and you're like uplifting and you're light,
Oh, thanks, man.
And that's what draws people to you, and that's so important. People think that they have to be like that like people who, let's say, are just learning about law of attraction. They're like, I have to be like this all the time now, because if I have a moment where I feel like absolute crap, and it's like, now I'm throwing everything off and I'm manifesting the wrong thing. That's not how it is, because it's so powerful, the moments that we're, not swimming in doubt, Any moment that we're not swimming in doubt is really powerful.
Okay, so that's a huge, sorry, I'll just stop you there. So first one, don't doubt. So there's hope, don't doubt. Okay, so like, you want something, okay, let's say it's like a better job because you hate your job, or like you're single and you kind of don't want to go to bed at night. myself. Like, okay, so that's the first thing. Don't lose hope. Don't doubt. Am I hearing that correctly? Yeah.
It's funny because people say, how do I be okay with what it is now?
Yeah.
You know, when it still is what it is now.
Yeah.
Like,
I can
how
see,
can I?
like, you're telling me something, but I see it's raining now. What is, you know,
Yeah. And see, it's raining now, but rain is temporary, and you're not gonna
oh, yes, that's right.
pull up into a corner and cry because you're like, this is the rest of my life. It's gonna rain forever. You know.
No.
Like,
Yeah.
you wouldn't do that because you logically know that the rain is going to stop eventually and then you can go out and play. And it's funny because it sounds so clear and obvious when I use that example, when we use that example, but at the same time, when we when we think of the things that mean so much to us, you know, the things that would mean so much if it happened, we do the exact same thing with those things, but we don't see how silly it is because we don't step back for a minute. Like, obviously the rain's gonna stop at some point, but we don't know if the loneliness is gonna stop. We don't know if the poverty is gonna stop. We don't know if that feeling of lack of anything is gonna stop because we just choose to assume that we don't know it's gonna stop. But when you treat it like the seasons, like the weather, you know that everything is temporary. You know that experiences are just things that you move through. So
okay, yeah. So you touched on a really.
So you're okay with the rain?
Yeah, I think that's a really interesting point there. You basically, when you care about something, when you don't care about something, it's super easy to take some of this stuff on. It's like, okay, well, we talk about car parks, we talk about like animals and like manifesting like really or getting really good things happen to us when we don't. Like, if I get that car park, okay, whoop whoop. But when we talk about something we really care about, like emotionally, that's where it gets a bit more challenging, isn't it? Like you said, you know. So would it be, you know, some people say, you know, like, let's just forget about caring. You just need to distract yourself long enough for it to happen, because it's already happening. You just don't see it because before anything happens, there's a period that's not happening. It's working towards happening. So, do you have any tips on that? Like, how do you, while waiting for it to happen?
I think so this is something that I think is really helpful for someone who has that question. It would be, it's not that, the problem isn't that you're emotionally attached to something. The problem is that we're emotionally attached to it in a negative way. So the reason that so many wise sayings say, you know, become detached from the thing you want, or if you want something, you have to let it go. It's not because you can't have something you are attached that you want so much. It's just that we have a tendency when we are attached to something to depend on it as your life source of happiness when that's not true, even if it feels that way. Yeah. So someone might say, I really want a relationship and I need a relationship to be happy. Then that's kind of killing it, because if you don't match the vibration of, if you don't mentally start to practice and make contact with the vibration of being in that relationship, then that relationship is not going to come to you. So that's why Abraham says, get happy and then. Like focus on something that in this moment makes you feel lighter, and then turn to the topic. So I'd say that I think we beat each other up, not each other, we beat ourselves up a lot, and each other on forums sometimes. I don't know if you've been on the forums. That's a whole other world. But like we beat ourselves up so much because we feel like, oh, do I have to let go? How do I let go? It's the only thing you're letting go of is the doubt. Basically, it's the resistance, the tension. So the doubt, the worry, the fear, that's what you want to let go of, because you can totally be emotionally, let's say, attached to something, and it could be a good attachment, as in whenever you think, because we're always attached to our desires, but the question is, what emotion is attached to the desire? Is it because, like Abraham says, are we actually thinking about having the thing when we think about it, or are we thinking about the absence of it? Correct. And that'll determine which way we're attached to it. So we want to be attached to it, but in a way that brings us joy, not in a way that makes us feel worse about it. So I hope that's
really gold. That's so good. Just interrupt you there. Just wanted to highlight that point where a lot of people think that, okay, I get it. I gotta, I gotta think about what I want, and it's gonna come. Like the Ferrari's gonna come, the car's gonna come. Me and Andrew are gonna come, right? But most often we're actually thinking about not having it. So this was a huge realization for me. Okay, I want the relationship of my dreams. I want to make more money, but it sucks right now. I mean, not now. It's pretty awesome right now, but
Yeah, I totally get
you're logically thinking it. I want this, but then emotionally you're feeling so lonely. You're feeling so empty.
It's the but.
Because,
It's
like
the
you said,
but.
you're tying your happiness. Exactly. So you're tying your happiness to this thing. When I think so, what you're saying is, what I'm hearing is, the happiness is already accessible to you now, right now.
You want to tie the happiness to it now. You don't want the
Now.
happiness to depend on whether you end up seeing it or not. Like what for? Like
That's
don't save your happiness for when you already see it with your eyes. Like let it be attached to your happiness. Let your happiness kind of depend on it in this moment because you're actually feeling happy when you think of it. But if you can't feel happy by just thinking of it, then you're not even going to be happy when it shows up because you're only going to attract that thing into your life in the way that it made you feel when you thought about it. That's why a lot of people say, oh, I manifested this thing I wanted, but it didn't make me feel as happy as I thought it would. That's because you focused on it so much to the point that, sure, it showed up, but you weren't feeling that fulfillment, that satisfaction when you were thinking about it before it showed up. So it showed up in a way that was dissatisfying.
That's right. And I think part of that's letting go, isn't it? Like you said, it's ironic when you care less about something that it actually comes to you. I'll just show you a quick story, actually. Like, guys, just like stories, right? Like, if you saw one of my videos, I put, like, I had a good memory of having stories read to me as a kid. But, like, just super quickly, getting introduced to Law of Attraction, I read like Think and Grow Rich and all those books and stuff, which was cool, which was really good. So I was super young when I was reading as well, so I didn't really stick. I had a book of The Secret. Like The Secret, by the way, guys, if you haven't heard, like it's just been super popular, like about Law of Attraction, and she made like a movie or something. You can probably back this up. And basically, I used to play in an orchestra, and with orchestras, sometimes you get fill-ins. It's like an actor, like or something. You get a fill-in and stuff. And I was single at the time, and there was a girl that, oh, awesome, yeah. The best things are random sometimes, right? Like exactly. So like Vivian, like exactly. Like sometimes the best things come when you don't expect it. So I'm just reading off the chat, and there was this girl that came in, and I was like, oh, like I've never seen her before, and I didn't expect to see her, and I was hoping, like, I'll definitely want to talk to her after the performance. Like, we had a performance, and pretty much we have after functions. I was like, yeah, this is going to work. Like, I planned in my head, like, we're going to, like, we're going to meet up. We're going to chat. Like, this is my moment. Like, like, it didn't happen. Like, I bought this secret book. I don't know what it is, but it's going to work. Yeah. And you think I'm going to tell you a happy ending, right? Like,
I'm curious.
But, and it just happened that I was flying into state that same day. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to get her contact. Like, I fly around Australia anyway for work and stuff. It doesn't matter. And she didn't turn up at the after function. And I was kind of disappointed. I was like, oh, that's kind of crap because, like, if you're a new girl, like, you want to chat and see who's there, right? So I was kind of like, I was disappointed. But I decided in that moment, I was like, every single time, like, I've been disappointed in my life, I don't want to be that guy anymore that regrets. Like, I don't want to go to bed and think, oh, that was a shit thing. And, like, it just clicked. Like, I just don't want to be that guy anymore. You know what I mean? Like, you just make this decision. Like, it came out of nowhere. And I thought, there's stuff that works, like, mindset stuff. Might as well, like, practice it. And then, so I went to the airport and it was kind of like, so I felt crap. And then I thought, I'm just going to forget about it for the time being. Like, it might come. And I just had this calm over me, like, that it was just going to be okay. Like, it was just going to be, like, not so much, it wasn't so much there's plenty of fish in the sea. I think when you start to think like that, sometimes it becomes really bitter and you're like, oh, like sour grapes, like chuck the grape away. Went to the airport lounge. I opened the book of The Secret, started reading it. And like, I started to I'm like, okay, this is kind of like what I thought it might be in the departure lounge. And then like, I had this really weird feeling that, I don't know, like just a weird feeling that someone was watching me. And I sort of looked up and like in the airport, and like the girl was sitting in the same lounge, like a couple meters away, with her dad. So you know how
Wow.
we were young, like, you know, with her dad, and
Wow.
I was like, nah, it can't be this. This is just oh, like I'm reading a secret book, and I didn't tell any of my friends, like, because at the time, or not everyone's into this kind of stuff, but it was just, I wouldn't say from that moment on I was 100% converted. I think people need to be dripped. Like, you need a little bit of time, but it just really opened my mind up to what there is out there. It's not a coincidence. And Abraham, so, you know, people often say that, you know, it's luck, it's chance, but really, we create things. So that was my story. Went on longer than I thought it would, but yeah.
Wow.
And it was good. Like, I was really happy after that. I felt more empowered. Like, I think, and that's the thing, like, I love about these things. Like, you are gonna, like, you might feel, so this is your life. And hopefully your life is long, right? But you might feel
I have to fit in the screen right now, so.
Yeah, crap. Because, I don't know, I shouldn't say that, but, you know, you might feel this way, and then all of a sudden, all you need is that thing to happen, and then you're redeemed. Like, you're like, this stuff works. It works.
And then,
if I can do that, I can do more. You know?
yeah.
Andrew,
and then,
I'm done speaking.
no, I mean, it's funny because that happens, and then it can go one of many ways. One of which is you have more confidence and you keep getting back on that horse and keep, you know, having more faith in it, or you reason it away. And that's also common and normal because you figure, okay, well, if everything in my life seemed random, and then now just because I was having a moment, that thing showed up, it might feel amazing in that moment, but we so often just reason it away and we think, oh, it would have happened anyway, or, you know, and then it's just that when we keep getting back on the horse, let's say after that, then you realize that, okay, there's something here. Like, as much as I want to deny it, there is a connection, and that's when you really, like, kind of let yourself buy into it. Because a lot of us first hear this and think it's kind of stupid or woo-woo or even irresponsible.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And then or even when we start to believe it's not, and we start to understand that that is actually the nature of the way things work, we still might feel that type of way because others might be seeing us that way, so we're very conscious of that. So
not everyone's going to be on the same page as you, and that's okay. And I think so we talk about Abraham a lot. So I love Abraham. So obviously with law of attraction, there's many like teachers, authors, just like, I don't know why I'm thinking of martial arts right now. I don't even do martial arts, even though I probably should. But like, many schools of thought, and this is one that Amin and I are so passionate about, as you can probably tell. Like, and you know, Amin's like an expert in it. So like, you know, it's just amazing. And I forgot what I was saying. I was just like in the moment, so amazed at my spot.
I often forget what I'm saying when I'm lingering on the feeling of how wonderful something it is. Something like that. That happens all the time during my calls with clients too. I'll just be like, and then I'll go, wait, where was I going with this? I got lost in the moment. But yeah, I mean, I think that's just like, actually, that's a great example, like, of just let that happen to you more in life. Like, be doing something logical in life, and then think for a moment about how great it is, just the concept of the thing that you want, the concept of the thing you desire, and then everything else kind of starts to mean nothing. And if you can enjoy something in that moment, and I don't know, Abraham's, okay, so there's like, there's a few thoughts on it, because I teach Abraham's teachings. Like, I teach how to apply a lot of Abraham's teachings, Abraham Hicks, and then I also do a lot of Neville's teachings. And the thing is that for me, it's one and the same, and it's different words and different approaches to the exact same nature of reality. So it's easy for me, and it's really helped me fill in the gaps of each one when I needed it, you know. So but you know, you'll hear people out there.
So just while people are coming on, so just two things. Just quickly, we're basically talking about how to get what you want, like using law of attraction, manifestation you might have heard. In general, if you just want some good vibes, hop on. Amin is a law of attraction coach. I'm really into that as well. You guys know I love mindset stuff. I'm into health, science, exercise, and stuff. But really, this is an inseparable part of life, I believe, and so super good to talk about. And so, if someone, I mean, wants to like, after hearing what you said, really like what you said, like, how do they get in touch with you? Like, how do they even begin? Like, do you do like, I don't know, like do you do consults online and stuff? I know the answer to that one actually.
Yeah, I do. I do Zoom sessions. So, and it's up to the person if they want to do it through video or just audio. But yeah, I do Zoom sessions. I do either by the session or like a pack of 4 sessions for a bit of a deal. It's not, I'll tell you, it's not cheap, but I'll also tell you that, if you're drawn to coaching and you can afford it, then go for it, because that means that that's probably your highest path of joy to applying this stuff. However, if you don't have the money for it right now, or you believe you can't afford it, that is perfectly fine, because
Just
when
follow
I
me. Just follow me. You get free tips. Yeah.
no, I mean, like it's I learned all this stuff without any one specific person's help, because all this information is free online, and really, like, that's all you need. That's all you technically need. However, there are people who prefer to be coached, and I really enjoy doing that with people. So that's, I mean, because this is okay, a lot of people like flood the forums and the Facebook groups, and I think that there's a good thing about that. That's why I've joined several of them. However, I feel like ultimately, I think moments of solitude are really what helps us to understand this stuff more, because when we like talk to other people about this stuff, all we're doing is that we're hearing from them what's somehow within us. So whatever we fear, or if we feel stupid about it, or if we feel hopeless about something, we're going to hear that reflected through other people's typing, because that's what's going to happen. And it becomes this thing where we start to be influenced more as we hear it from other people, and then we start to doubt ourselves more, or we feel like we're doing something wrong. So I generally say, when you're first learning this stuff, try to keep it to yourself, or just like one person, whether it's a coach or just like a trusted friend who kind of understands this stuff and is not going to like judge you for it. Just keep it to yourself, or just like one person who might get it. And because it's hard enough at first to absorb this stuff, and to be mindful of your thoughts, and to keep positive in a sense, or to keep that state, that emotional state that you want to be in, let alone to do that while you're in crowds of people just asking a question out there, when you get so many different answers. So yeah, I think that at first, while you're still kind of refining your understanding of it, it's best to do it kind of focus on your own, and I wouldn't shout it to the world tops at first that, hey guys, I'm doing the law of attraction now, and help me, join me.
I'll shout out.
No, I mean, it sounds like a positive thing to do, and we want to do it because we're like, oh my god, this stuff is amazing, and I want everyone else to understand it. But then you come to understand that not everyone's ready for it, but those who are ready for it are like totally ready for it. It's just an amazing experience to work with people like that, because it's not the people who are just learning that usually end up following me. It's the ones who have been knowing it for a while, but are just having maybe some ups and downs trying to manifest a specific thing because it means so much to them, let's say, and that's why there's resistance, and it's basically working through resistance.
Yeah, I think no, I really appreciate that. You're so, and by saying that, I think people are like, oh, I have to follow her now. So yeah, guys, follow Amin if you haven't already. I'm sure actually Vivian just messaged something. Oh, she loves you. That's
Lisa. That's my friend from London. Yeah.
Awesome. London.
She's always been there for me, for sure.
I was gonna go to London actually. Well, when I say go, I mean like not now, but like I was going to, like, my godmother lives there, so I'd love to visit. Wave at the Queen. Whatever it is, I saw a meme. But yeah, I was just gonna say, like, there is value in having a coach, like, or even just an accountability partner, even if you just find someone that keeps you accountable. I personally, guys, like, I have for my business, I have about 3 people that I kind of am accountable to and I work with in my business, actually, like 3. And
that's good.
I will have maybe 2 or 3 groups that I am part of that I'm continuously learning
Mhm.
to do with mindset and health. So it's really good. Like this is the thing. Like people will let themselves down. I'm going on a more motivational thing now. People will let themselves down, but they ain't gonna. Trust me. Like if you're having trouble finding inspiration to do this stuff, like people will let themselves down, but they won't let others down. Like you're not gonna be like, okay, like I'm not
Yeah.
gonna go to the gym today. I'm not gonna like I know I should think positive or I should visualize or I should just relax. But heck, it's like this is it's real life. But when someone's watching you, like whether it's your kids or
You
like
behave better. You stick to
yeah,
your guns
like
when we up.
if you're a mom like or like listening like oh I can't look I got to be a good example. And then when that happens, you've got like a why. And again, that's a different topic, like, but you have a reason, like, to be. Anyway, my point is, when you have an accountability partner,
Really true.
like myself, like Amin, or even just a friend, you will be more likely to achieve. This is stat, like, what was the stat in our
Yeah.
business? Like something percent, 60, 70% more likely to be successful in what you want to do.
Ev- I want to say like everybody, but I guess we can't generalize. But
No.
the vast majority of people who have what we think of as like they're living large, let's say, they have all kinds of coaches, not just one. They have
Yeah,
coaches in different areas, just like you said,
guaranteed.
one for wellness, one for mindset, one for whatever, just
Yeah.
for nutrition, not just. So
So
this is something
that
that,
could be a help. If you're finding it hard to, sorry, like, if you're finding it hard to get like get what you want, maybe it's time. Maybe just if you need help to not maybe help, just someone to remind you. Yeah.
I kind of see it as someone hold almost holding your hand and just kind of like keeping your focus on one thing, because what happens is that like sometimes we need our hands held and a handheld and we don't realize it, and it's not like a constant thing. It's not like it's the whole point is for people is for you to have a confidence in it, so that you don't have to always be relying on the person who's helping you with it. So this is why some people like to be coached for like a certain period of time, like a year or 2 years or whatever, and then eventually they come back only for like refresher sessions,
Yeah.
which makes a lot of sense, because it's like you don't want them to be hooked on you, and to a point where it's like I can only manifest with this person. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
You want to do it with them for a certain amount of time until they build the confidence, more
Yeah.
confidence themselves, and they know what to do when they start to feel doubt, or those things. And but yeah, if you like doing something with an accountability partner, then it's definitely like it's funny because there's actually someone always aware of what we're doing. And by someone, I mean all is one, one is all, right? But it's funny because when we're specifically aware of who it is watching us or who it is being influenced by us, well, all of a sudden we're like, no, no, we're going to get up and actually do it.
Yeah, no, it's so true. Like, I'm probably being watched now. Like, it was early morning, and like I'm probably like, no. But
You
seriously
feel a
speaking,
whisper
that's
behind
amazing.
your ear.
Sorry, what was that?
Do you feel a whisper of some being behind your ear? Did a breeze pass your ear and you're like, what
Oh,
was that?
the birds. I don't know why I said bees. That's inappropriate. Like the birds, like and the it's beautiful now actually because I'm next to an avocado farm. This huge shrubbery. So it attracts like I don't know if you guys if you're in Australia, like kookaburras and stuff. Like they make a laughing sound when they like
Oh, really?
when they and like it's simple things like that which make me happy. Like I reckon it's actually simpler than you think. Like if a home cooked meal, if like I'm sure like some people on here have pets. Like if your pet makes you happy, just do more of that. Like and then all this stuff becomes easier. Life was
Yeah,
meant to be
it just
fun. You
feels,
touched on it.
it's funny because people think that's so like simplistic of like, oh yeah, sure, I've been petting my pet all these years, nothing's happened. But actually that's not true, because you don't know what it would have been like if you didn't have your pet, like those moments of enjoying your pet. It does make a difference, but just because you can't see, even if it was under a microscope, you can't see the connection between it, we figure it's not connected, but it's totally connected. It's completely connected. If every moment that you spend enjoying something for the sake of enjoying it,
Yes.
it's completely changing your like Neville says, a change of feeling is a change of destiny. So
it's awesome. Hey, Gabby. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, we're just talking about how to get what you want. You know, whether it's your health, wealth, you know, stuff that's important to you and important to me. You know, cook a meal, watch a sunset. Yeah, that's so good.
and
Okay, sorry, you go.
no, go ahead. No, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just saying, like, introducing like people who just popped on, like, notice it's, you know, this thing's like, holy crap, it's like it's awesome. Like, the people that come on and off, it's like a airport. Like, we can't travel.
Yeah.
Hey, Gabby, hola. Gabby's from
Yeah.
Argentina. It's like it's like an airport. Like, that's how I feel. Like, I'm sitting in the departure lounge. It smells better than the airport, and people are coming in, they're saying hi, and they're popping in and out. But so how do you? So we know that to attract what you want, you may have. So we're just going to summarize what we talked about so far, from what I remember. So first of all, it's hope. Like, it doesn't matter what you're doing or where you think you are, or what you feel. It's not your past, really. It's what you decide now. It's actually time's an illusion. You know, future doesn't exist. I mean, it does, but
that
physics.
person you were is not. You're no longer that person. So
Yeah.
the only connection there is the one that we make of it.
Exactly. So so we know we've got a choice now. This hope. We're telling you this hope. So no need to question it. It's this hope. Second thing is, we want to know what we want. We know that we want to feel good about what we want, because sometimes we think we know what we want, but we're actually thinking about what we don't want. That's a huge thing, actually. Like, for example, we talk about, I really want a relationship. Like, I want to be in a loving relationship. But crap, every time I think about a relationship, I feel lonely as. Like, I feel like so empty, guys. Like, you know. So we know, okay, we just got to maybe distract ourselves long enough to feel good enough. And we can already feel good. We don't need to tie, like you said. And again, like, it can be Buddhist or whatever, but being unemotionally attached and eating rice I love rice, but eating rice all day in a monastery and not having any desire. It's about maybe associating with what you want in a different way. So you might be feeling really good about it, and you can feel good about it now. So then we're at the point where, okay, well, I know I gotta, like, drop resistance, don't try so hard, relax, do stuff we like. How do we like find that stuff, like, or how do we maintain it? Like, how would you do it?
I would immediately displace it, because it's hard to remove a habit, but it's easy when you displace, like, you replace it with something else. Yeah, it goes away. Yeah, it goes away by, like, just like how Abraham talks about the opposite end of the stick, right? Because you are already thinking about the topic, but you're focusing on the part of the end of the stick of which is the lack of what you want. Switch, like, pivot your focus to the presence of what you want. And people might be like, okay, presence of what I want is not there. Actually, it is there, because if there wasn't the presence of what you want, then it wouldn't even occur to you that you want it in the first place. So if you can enjoy the concept of it, if you can enjoy just thinking about it and letting yourself feel like you have it now, and let yourself like feel the rush of it in your body and the sensations tied to it, you get emotional, like it doesn't, you're gonna look stupid to other people doing this. That's why we do it in private, you know?
Oh, I've done that.
So like, just like as you're falling asleep, like, think about these things as though it's already happening right now. Because there's this thing that Joseph Murphy and Neville Goddard spoke of called the law of inverse transformation, which is basically, if a physical fact could cause a psychological state, then that psychological state will cause that physical fact. So if you had this, if having this would make you feel this way, then choosing to feel this way now, just for the hell of it, will bring on that physical fact.
Okay, so for me, how I hear that is really cool, you know, and I love Joseph Murphy. The Power of the Subconscious Mind is just an amazing book. I read it so much that it fell apart, and I ended up giving it to my friend who I felt really needed it. I don't think she read it, but that's okay. Like, it's about,
you planted the seed. You planted the seed. You never know.
Planted the seed, and that's what we talk about. Like, it doesn't always happen straight away, but believe me, guys, it does happen. Yeah, so basically, it's like you said, it's inversely correlated. Meaning, like, I'm sure like everyone here speaks English, but like, So just bear with me here. But I just want to make sure, I just want to make sure you guys are looked after. If normally we think, right, step one, get the cookie batter in the pan. I don't make cookies, obviously. Put the ingredients in the pan, turn on the slow cooker, because that's what I do, and you're going to make a meal. The meal can only come when you turn it on. You can't get a meal that's, voila, cooked. But you're saying, so to put it simply, you can have the meal now by imagining the meal first, and then
the cookies will show up for you.
It will actually go back and make you feel, because it associates, it makes you feel certain things, and then by that token, it actually cooks the meal.
It will be cooked for you, and it will be presented to you. Exactly. So it's exactly that. So just that's the same reason why we think, oh, we thought of something and then it showed up for us, because we thought about it in a way that was actually feeling like we have it, and we weren't suffocating it with like doubt or worry, because it wasn't of significance maybe of that much, so we weren't like choking it to death, so
Wow,
if having cookies would make us feel like that's yummy, then if we just think in our mind right now, that kind of cookie, I like that kind of cookie, I know how it tastes in my mouth, then, and you just kind of like forget about it, then that day you will end up eating that cookie somehow, whether someone was inspired to make it and give it to you, or you passed by a store and they had the exact kind you wanted and you go and get it. That's still a manifestation. Things don't have to fall into your lap exactly in order for it to manifestation. But when you're aligned with it and aligned with that taste in your mouth already, and this is why we want to involve our physical senses, because when we do, that more strongly attracts that experience. So if we want to hear from a person that we haven't heard from in a while, we want to imagine their voice, and we want to imagine what they would say to us, because that specifically says, yeah, that's this person. Yeah. And then so same thing with the sense of taste. If there's a food you enjoy, just imagine what the food tastes like, and then that's it, and then it will show up for you in some sense. And so that's the exact same concept, exactly, the law of inverse transformation. So we don't know how it's going to show up, but you just tell yourself, I don't know how, and that's okay, because I don't have to know how. That's not my job.
That's right.
Our job is so cool. All we have to do is linger in the good feeling of what it's like when we will have that thing, and then that's it. That's our job. Like, our job is not to make it happen, because anything that's needed on our part to happen will be through inspired action. Yes. We'll take those actions not even realizing that it's connected to that desire.
Guys, that's probably one of the most important things we talked about today, because there's a really profound saying that we talked about this on Clubhouse, guys. We have Clubhouse streams that we talk about this stuff. Like, so if you have it, or if you want to join Clubhouse, I have invites. Just like DM me and I'll send you an invite. Like, I know everyone that's listening right now is aligned. Like, I know I can feel it. Like, you guys are awesome. Just send, and I'm sure Amin would be happy. Like, if you have any spare invites, whatever. But
yeah, I do have a few invites, so feel free to DM me.
Yeah, and if you don't know what Clubhouse is, just DM us. Yeah, I'm sure. Like, it's just super new. It's a social platform that you can use voice. You can't see how beautiful, actually, Amin's beautiful face. I'm more like, I like to be thinking I'm more handsome, but
oh my God, I think that's one of the best parts about Clubhouse. We don't have to think about what we look like in that moment. Like, we can be like you said, in our pajamas. We can just roll out of bed and start talking.
Yeah. Oh God. Gosh,
I love it. It's my favorite platform, I think. I like Instagram, I think, because it's like it's convenient and easy. But Clubhouse is like, I feel like even better. It's like exponentially.
If you guys are on Clubhouse, can you just maybe drop like a fire emoji or like your favorite emoji in the chat? I just want to see. Like,
I know Lisa's on Clubhouse. I know that.
Oh, okay, Lisa. Your name's not Vivian. Yeah. I've been calling you Vivian. That's funny.
I think that's her middle name. I think that's her middle name. So
okay.
Lisa.
But anyway, I was just saying the most profound, something really profound that Abraham Hicks said, and actually this is probably one of the two things that really hits me, is you can pretty much have anything you want right now, or what you want right now should be here. if you don't have any resistance, and obviously she said it much better than I did. Like, I'm just
No, you said
thinking
it.
off the top of
You
my
said
head.
it very directly.
So
Totally.
basically, we talk about this with Jack Canfield's principles, and you know, basically, if you don't have, okay, I'll put it really plainly, like, guys, if you've listened this long, like, I'm sure you can take it. If you don't have what you want right now, so I'll say it again, if you don't have what you want right now, it's because you're resisting it. And people go, oh, what? That's, no, I'm getting off this live right now. Like, this is like not right. Like, but it's true. Like, based on what we say, you know, if you don't have that dream, I say this because it's the most common thing that I see in my business and my friends. If I'm single and I don't want to be, if I'm working a job I hate and I don't have enough money to go on holiday, it's because you've got resistance. That's it. Like, you are resisting it. And I think this is where, like, it's good to, that's why we learn about law of attraction, because we want to, you know, help people. We want to know, we want to be back in control, because I think, I wouldn't say the biggest lie, but I'd say a huge thing, if I could say one thing to someone, would be that you are actually in control of your destiny. Like, you can actually, that's it. I don't need to embellish it. You can control anything you
mold it
want.
by what you choose to think and feel. Yep, absolutely.
We talk about, and I'm going off tangent a bit, we talk about the economy, politics, and we talk about, people talk about food supply. Like, I'm into biohacking, you know, we talk about living longer. We talk about stuff in the atmosphere, the animals, the, you know, all that stuff, even like finance, which is like, let's talk about, if we talk about, people manifested that energy. The building, the chair I'm sitting on was someone's thought. It wasn't just there. Someone actually felt and made it. Everything, even economy, we talk about, okay, really quick. We talk about house prices or investment. That stuff goes up and down based on people's feeling. Like,
absolutely,
it's
business is
feeling based.
spiritual. Everything is
Spiritual.
manufacturing is spiritual, business is spiritual, and it's funny because I think everyone knows that on some level, but we've been so taught to think that there's your spiritual life, and then there's your business life, and then there's your school life, and it's like spirit is everything. Like spirit gives life to everything, so absolutely everything is dependent. The stock market depends on emotions, and it's funny because it very obviously depends on emotions, because people act on their emotions, and that's what makes the stock market go up and down.
Exactly.
But it just does not seem tangible enough for a lot of people to see it that way, even though I think it's a very obvious connection, just like you said. So
yeah, exactly. You know, and it's similar to what you said earlier. I'm pretty much stating what you and the audience already knows. You guys are super smart. We talk about, again, don't want to go too much into that sort of that stuff, because if you haven't heard of it, read it, it might sound weird, but your inner being knows. Your inner being knows. Anytime you feel bad, you're not being yourself. You're not aligning with it. Anytime you curse a stupid person at the supermarket who just won't get it, won't move, or someone that is yelling at their partner in public loudly, or something that bothers you, and you have a negative emotion to it, you are not being yourself, because deep down you love that person. You actually do care about that person. That person's actually struggling with something, and that's why you feel bad, because your inner voice, if you want to call it whatever you want, your intuition, your inner voice, your inner being, source energy, whatever, knows differently. It loves you.
We're of the same exact source. Like Hermetic philosophy says, like all is one is all. So we're just another extension of they and we are just other extensions of the same exact source.
Exactly.
We're just different, having different unique perspective experiences, but we are at the root of us the same.
And that's okay. That's totally fine. That's beautiful. That's yeah. So, you know, and that's part of it. Okay, so say we're on our journey. Like, okay, we're basically, hey, James, Hussein, I see a few people have joined. Okay, we know this is the direction. It's like our ship, right? We know we're driving it. We're going to go, oh, not the Titanic. Let me use another example. let's say we're on Abraham Hicks cruise. We're going to New Zealand, guys. Like, right? We know where we're going, but along the way, there's like people that are like just not helping the situation. Like, I want to be positive. I want to be awesome. I want to do this, but my spouse, my friend, my girlfriend, my boyfriend, my whatever, they just don't. They're not the same as me, and I feel like they are the reason. Not me, but let's just say they are the reason
A lot of
that,
people
that
experience
I can't get to what I want. So it's all good that I'm listening to what you're saying, but they're stopping me. Do I have to like remove them from my life? Like,
no.
how did
Well,
that
you
work?
you have to first see it this way.
Exactly.
What anybody is saying to you is only a reflection of something that you have within yourself. Like I had like specific experiences that I'd say was the most hard experience that I've had that really made me understand. I think that's why I had it, that everyone is really you pushed out. Like this is what Neville Goddard teaches. I don't know if you're familiar with it. So
Sure.
anything that someone says, even if it hurts your feelings and makes you feel very bad, you know, it's not about the other person. The other person may be saying it absolutely from where they're coming from, and it's going through a filter of their consciousness and what they're experiencing in life. But when they say it to you, so you experienced hearing that from somebody, it's because on some level, you maybe feel that about yourself, even if you don't fully buy into it. Maybe you fear someone will see you that way. There's some kind of thing that matches, just like how, like basically if someone our brain has receptors to every possible thing. So if we take a drug, right, for example, there are receptors for that, and there's going to be a connection. So, and that strengthens over time, right?
Yeah.
So it's the exact same way that like we have receptors to being treated a certain way. So if someone's saying something to us that we don't like they're saying you'll never make it, or you're just a joke, or whatever, all that stuff, what you're saying is stupid, you know? Like that's because we have a receptor part in our brain that is matching that.
Right.
Otherwise, even if they said it, we would not be aware of it because so that's what Abraham calls alignment, right? So if we have that part of us that's aligned with hearing that. So what I did, which was go through years of hurt because of something, you know, someone insisted about me, like someone made a picture of me that wasn't at all who I was, and it threw me off because my entire life I've been like this goody two shoes, whatever, kind of like teacher's pet and you know, good girl, you know, and then someone was thrown into my experience who made me look really bad to a lot of people who were important to me or who were easily influenced in that part of my life. And like I went through hurt, I went through anger and years of it, but all along working on this fact that I know that it's not really about her, it's not about this person, it's about what inside me made, what was a match to that, like what inside me, and what I know what it was because I went through certain experiences in my life where I was afraid of being seen this way, I was afraid of being defined this way, so and it came out in a very specific someone, you know, making a very loud thing in my life, and you want to blame the person, and any logical person would say it's the person's fault, but I know within myself that if I didn't have a match to that, then I wouldn't have experienced it on my end, and also it wouldn't have bothered me as much because have you heard of Bashar's teachings?
No, I haven't. I heard of the concept that you mentioned previously, but just do tell. I might have actually heard it, but just do tell.
I'm sure you have at some point, but like it's funny because if people think Abraham's work is out there, then Bashar's like totally out there. Because it's very more in your face, his teachings. So like he says basically that, you know, if things don't bother you, then if something bothers you, it's because you're actually believing it on some level in your mind. So if the example he uses is if somebody comes up to you and says, someone in the street walks up to you and says, "Those are the ugliest orange socks I've ever seen in my life." Okay.
No, I'm getting that. They're great.
And you're not even wearing orange socks. Okay. You're not even wearing orange socks. So you would look at the person and be like, okay, and then you would walk away, right? You're not hurt by it. You're not lingering on it anymore. Maybe you might tell a story to somebody else, but that's it. So if someone says, "You're a liar," and you know you're not a liar, why does it bother you unless on some level you're afraid of being perceived as a liar, or maybe you lied once and a long time ago and you felt so guilty about it that you just see yourself as, oh my God, am I a liar? Or I lied once and I hurt somebody or whatever.
Yeah.
So nothing can technically hurt us if we know that it's not true. Just like if we're not wearing orange socks and some weirdo on the street comes and tells us, you have ugly orange socks. It's like, okay, cool, dude. And then you just walk away.
Cool, dude. Oh my gosh, that. I get that. It really it comes down to how confident are you with yourself? Like, how well do you know yourself and what you want and what you can? That previous concept that I really have you read The Voice of Knowledge by Don Miguel Ruiz. So
no, I haven't read that one.
So it's along similar lines to what you were saying before, where everyone is telling a story of their life. You are, guys, I hate to break it to you, you are just a character in someone's life. like as in, okay, say even your partner or even your mother or your son or whatever. Like, I want to be inclusive of everyone that's listening here. Like, and if you just hopped on, like, pop on where you're from, like, so we can see. Like, I can't see, guys, who's actually like on unless you comment. I believe on Instagram,
Yeah.
Live, on Facebook.
If I tap on someone, I lose the whole screen. So
yeah, exactly. I don't want to touch it. Otherwise, it's like boom, like lives ended.
We're used to doing that on Clubhouse. On Clubhouse, we have that advantage of we could just click on them and see where they're from and what they do and what their interests are.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
so if you're here, like if you put a emoji, it's not to get. Obviously, it's a good exercise for your hands. Like, you don't want to be sitting down for the whole time, but that's how we know you're here, and we're not like ignoring you and stuff. So if you have any questions for us, like, even if it was like Andrew, like where did you get your shirt from? It looks pretty cool. Like,
we're gonna get one of those.
But anyway, my point is, like, what I was saying before is that you're just a character in someone's story. Like, and that statement itself takes a lot of pressure off you, because it's like, I think people are thinking this. People aren't really thinking about you that much. Like, they think about you in their story. So, for example, like, and your partner might be like, okay, you wake up, this is my mum. My mum is all this, some of this characteristics, which may not even be your mum. You don't know what your mum's thinking, to be honest. No one does, except your mum.
Yeah.
And she is nurturing. She cares for me. She likes orange socks. She hates, I don't know, she loves Thai food. She doesn't like gardening. She likes cooking. She loves knitting. And then my father doesn't like any of that stuff. My partner is this woman or this guy that I met at this mixer in university. They like blue. They have this weird thing where they like to wink when they're telling a joke, even though, like, the joke shouldn't be told like that. And they're gonna become a dag. Actually, do you guys have that dag? Anyway, they're like really daggy, and they just, like, you make a profile. It's like Facebook. You're literally like Facebook. You know how, like, Facebook knows everything about us and listening to everything we say. You're like a Facebook. So he's basically saying, just to round this back up, you are in someone's story. You're a character. So how can you take anything personally? In fact, that's one of the first things he said. You don't need to take anything personally, because you're just a character. When you watch, what was your favorite movie? I mean, you were watching it with your daughter, weren't you? Anyway, doesn't matter. Go.
My favorite movie is Breakfast at Tiffany's.
Okay.
Audrey Hepburn.
Okay, that just, I asked for it, right? I don't.
Did I throw you a curveball?
That movie, like, I feel like I should have watched it with, I don't know, an ex-girlfriend or something. I don't know, but like,
Sorry, it's a girly movie. Let me think of a less girly movie.
that's all right.
I don't know, Titanic. I don't know. Everyone's
Okay, all right. So let's say, like, like, if you're in if you think of Rose and I don't even know, Jack, is that his name? Do you guys know what the guy's name is? If you know, just write in the chat, whatever. But
it's Jack. I think it's Jack.
Is it Jack?
I think so. We'll call him Jack. I think it is.
Yeah, you're not gonna get offended if Jack, I don't know, like, okay, you know, you're not in the movie, but you're not going to get offended if Jack says something to Rose and Rose doesn't like it, or, you know, it's if because you're watching a story like it, and similarly they're not thinking about.
Yeah.
Anyway, that I don't know where that example was going, but basically, it doesn't matter.
Don't take it personally. Exactly, and it's funny because just as we're just a character in other people's lives, everyone is a character in our lives, and they're only going to be playing the role that we assign them, because they can only. That's why Abraham says that people will show up for you the way you expect them to, and it's not about expectation in terms of I expect you to be like this. It's not that expectation. No. It's the true meaning of expectation, which is what do you actually believe that they're going to treat you like? Because when you have a natural ease expectation of people being a certain way, that's the way they show up for you.
Yeah.
And so they might show up differently to other people, either better or worse, but they will show up for you in the way that you've assigned their role in your life as that character,
and I
even
think
if they don't want
to. No, I think I just wanted to quickly say for people that just joined, like that's why, tying back to your story about how sometimes we go, oh, this stuff happened to me, or as I like to say, for me. You know, this person did this to make me feel bad. This person said this hurtful stuff, but actually, you're saying on some level, you said Bashard, I think, said that.
Bashard.
Bashard said on some level, it's because you embody that. Oh no, I can't. No, I mean, like, I'm not against, I don't know, meat eaters. Or, I mean, no, I'm not. I don't want to eat meat, or I don't know, whatever you are. I'm not. I don't agree with something that's non-political.
Everything is political now. What are you talking about?
I'm not allowed to, like, okay, for example, if someone says like, oh, you know, like you're super loud, I'm not loud. Oh. It's kind of like that.
It's funny because most of the time it is stuff that will be like, no, I have nothing matching this in me. In fact, I feel the opposite way about it, you know, and it comes as a shock, but we have to see that as like a blessing, that because the only thing that's for sure is that if we're experiencing it, then it's based off of a paradigm that we have, some kind of, we're matching that frequency, which means that Bob Proctor would call it that we have that paradigm, you know, matching it. So if instead of doubting it, just use that to be like, okay, so if that's true, then what would I have to be thinking on some level? Because we're not always aware of what we're thinking, you know, like sometimes we don't realize what we're doing because it becomes automatic. Our thoughts become like habitual, and also we pick up on things from around us that we don't realize we picked up on sometimes. That's why we say, you know, be mindful, just like Neville calls this non-critical self-observation. It's just like, just watch your thoughts and your feelings unattached from them. Just like, you know, like don't take it personally. Because it's not about if you're doing something right or if you're doing something wrong. It's just observing, okay, what's going on in this like automatic thing of my mind, and it's not about being right or wrong or feeling guilty or beating yourself up for it.
Yeah.
Hi, everyone.
No.
Is that Leah? Hi, Leah.
So true.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. We're just talking. Hey, Leah. We're just talking about. I just realized I didn't name this live. Like I was like halfway. I was like, like. People are like, why are they going like, okay. But anyway, we're talking about like our favorite subject, law of attraction, but more like how, you know, people can get what they want. Doesn't matter what it is. And you know, like we talked about, you know, there's always hope. We started with hope. So once we established that there's hope, because you respond, you know, everything comes from the present moment, like literally. Outside of quantum physics, but you know what I mean? You've got a choice now, and basically let go of resistance, feel good, do things that make you feel good, maybe find an accountability partner, someone that you can, you know, this is why like there's so many cool people on Instagram, right? You follow their page, you know, they post all this stuff that's inspirational, or it's a good reminder to you. You can even DM them, like, you know, DM I mean, and then like, and then, but
there's more positive support. Sorry, I don't need to. I don't need to go off.
That's cool.
There's more positive support than we realize. Like if you follow Andrew, it's like you're gonna get positivity in your feed, you know. And a lot of times, what we think is that like if we follow like success pages, or even honestly what's considered law of attraction pages. I mean, they're full of stuff that's not actually based on the way nature actually works, because there's this like crossover now between traditional success pages and then law of attraction pages, and
Yeah.
they're not clear on, I think, what's actually true. So
yeah.
Yeah, because all of a sudden it's like a popular thing. Law of attraction is a popular thing. So people just like who don't really understand it will run a page. You know, maybe the owner of the page does understand it, but the person who's doing the post doesn't really get it. So they might post contradicting information. But there are so many pages like Andrew's. Like, what are you gonna get there? You're gonna get like positivity in your feed like several times a day. Like, why wouldn't you want that? So,
Yeah.
and they're out there. Pages like that are out there. They'll be drawn to you the more you are open to it.
That's it. And that's the amazing thing, right? Like everyone relates to something differently. So if you're thinking like, who should I follow? Like it's just overwhelming. Like if I type in law of attraction, if I type in help, self-development, inspirational quotes, there's just everyone saying their own thing and telling their own thing. And the answer is really simple. Like who do you like? Who do you like the look of? Who do you feel? It's so simple. I've met some of the best people. I mean, you know, I met some of the best people do that. I attract the best customers, clients. I work with the best people when I do that. And conversely, when I don't, that's when I start to get, and we talked about this in Clubhouse the other day, when you're trying too hard to figure out things out, you actually get people that challenge you. Like, so for example, like in my business, we work with a product that slows down aging. When I'm feeling good, I just get people who are like, yeah, like this is really cool. Like, how do I use it? Whatever. How's it helped you? Okay, cool. And that's it. That's it. Whether they want to purchase the product, whether they want to get involved with the business, that's it. But then when I'm putting resistance up and I'm saying like, oh, I've got to grind. Like, it's got to be hard. Like, that's another piece of advice that comes out. Like, oh, you know, like no gain, no pain. Wait, not no gain, no pain. No pain.
No gain, yep.
No, we want the gain. So gains. Hey, no pain, no gain. Like
they're not objectively tied to one another, because there's this belief that we've picked up on along the way that we have to sacrifice our peace and ease in order to gain anything, which is the complete opposite. It's the polar opposite of what is true, because things come through ease.
Yeah.
Grass grows through ease. The water flows downstream, and we're being told, hey, you got to paddle upstream as hard as you can because that's how you succeed. But actually, it's just about like letting yourself focus on what brings you joy in a moment and just like let it happen. Because
okay, I just wanted to stop you there quickly because I think that's a really good analogy that maybe not everyone gets. And I'm saying this out of respect because Abraham uses this. I notice like upstream, downstream really often, but it's a simple analogy. I would say it simply, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. Do what's easy in life. And you're like, what? But if I don't lift that heavy weight, I'm not going to get these guns like Andrew. Like, oh, wait, can you see? I'm going to stop there, otherwise, like it's going to give the game away. But, okay, it's not so much that, but it's doing what's easy. So it's like, man, if I have to... Okay, let's talk about relationships, right? Man, this guy or girl isn't responding to my messages. They just don't get it. I'm going to message them. I'm going to keep messaging. I'm going to keep posting and hope. I'm going to keep doing something to try and get them. Whereas... Even
if it's through my mind, I'm going to sit and focus until they write to me.
That's upstream. I would say that is an example of upstream. There's many upstream. That's... yeah, that's going against what's easy. I'll give you another, for me, another crazy example. Events, right? Like it could be plans. This is this might be unemotional for you guys, but just bear with me here. It's like, you have a plan. You want to have fun this week. It's been a big day at work, big life. It's been a big, I'm not gonna say big week, big life. And I just want to let my hair down on Friday, right? But I'm kind of feeling tired. I don't know like what I should do. Like, I want to go out, but I'm tired. True story. I want to go out, but I'm tired. And if I don't go out on Friday, because I've got the kids on Sunday, or I've got Taekwondo. Why am I doing martial arts? I don't even do martial arts. I don't know, Taekwondo on Sundays. Like I do sport, or I'm with the girls for brunch. I can't cancel on brunch. And that night, your girlfriend says, hey, actually our brunch is canceled. So the easy thing to do would be actually, well, I could probably, and something comes up on Sunday, like a market you might have wanted to go to, or a friend calls you up like, hey, do you want to do something? That's the easy thing. Doing the thing on Sunday, not going out on Friday, because you're tired on Friday. And if you go out on Friday, it means that you're pushing against your tiredness. That, I feel that's an example upstream, downstream. Doing something that's easy, that works out for you in a small way.
Yes, and I want to say that easy has such a bad rap because when we talk about easy, we're not talking about like, oh, no brain work or no, it's like a stupid choice. Like it's almost as though easy is tied to stupid, like in society. And I don't know why, because what it actually means, right, is it means with ease, whatever flows with ease for you. It doesn't mean that you're not going to use your brain at all. It doesn't mean that you're trying to get out of doing something. No, it's not at all. It's, if you actually want to get out of doing something, it's because that thing is actually not going to lead you to the things that you want for yourself. Because
right.
I mean, how beautiful design is this? That whatever we actually want and we match, like, and we appreciate desire for something, and we kind of lightly entertain the idea of it, that if we just follow steps of what feels good along the way, even if it doesn't seem tied to it, that's the actual bridge of incidents that's going to bring us to that result that we want. It's not going to be through pushing and suffering. It's those things that say, oh, we got to hustle, you got to be the first. I'm not an early riser. I know the benefits of it, but for me, at this point in my life, waking up leisurely is more, let's say, is more pleasant to me and brings me more joy than pushing myself to wake up in the morning.
You got a few.
I'm sure that there are points where that will probably feel good for me because there are things that I appreciate about that.
Right.
But pushing yourself to do something because you feel like if I want this, then I have to get this. That's actually probably going to bring you more stress than anything else. But if you just focus on what the end feels. So if you're thinking I have to wake up early in the morning so I can get a run in or get some exercise in so I can have the body I want to have, then focus on the body you want to have, and it actually will start to feel easier waking up in the morning to do that. Because the more you're aligned with the end result that you want, the things that you would probably get you there the quickest way and the easiest way, they'll happen so much easier, and they'll happen as inspired action rather than I'm going to push myself. That's why willpower is really of the mind and of consciousness. It's not about if you're not lined up with what you want and you just used physical willpower to get somewhere, it's torture, isn't it?
1000%.
Yeah.
No, it's exactly true. Life was meant to be fun. It's meant to be easy. You're meant to have what you want unless you're resisting it. And I think that, ironically, by trying to force an outcome, you're actually resisting it. Gold. So we're on our journey, right? Like we know, like, okay, so say we're on that ship. Like you said, so actually, I just had a thought on what you said. So, if getting up early doesn't make you feel good, don't get up early. Although there are benefits to getting up early. We know with a biohack, some people sun gaze, mindfulness, all that stuff, actually waking and going to sleep, that's when your subconscious mind is so impressionable. I mean, you can get into that state. Anyway, that's another topic, of course. But anyway, so let's say you're on that ship and you're getting towards your destination. How do you, I know what I see, but how do you know that you're doing it right? Like whenever you're going to I use a gym. To know if I'm doing right, I can see that my biceps, as you saw before, are getting more juicy. Actually,
it obviously has been worked on and is very, very powerful looking.
Yeah. Look at that on the side. But I actually, anyway. But you have feedback from the universe. Like literally, you can see your muscles grow, like me. If you're in a business, you can see money coming in. Maybe.
Profits.
I mean, not always. Like depending on the business model. Like for example, some of the business, like one of the businesses I'm involved in, it starts off slow. Actually, any self business doesn't always. It tends to be exponential. It's like, oh man, oh, I'm rich. Like almost what kind of.
Yeah, what seems an overnight success is never an overnight success. There's always been, yeah. You
But
just couldn't see the beginnings.
But let's say if you're looking for, like, again, I come back to this because people ask me a lot, and if you're looking for a relationship, for example, or better health, what are the markers that you see? What is the feedback that you see that validates that you're doing the right thing? And Abraham talks a lot about certain things, but go for it. Otherwise, I will.
You feel, yeah, simple answer. You feel lighter about it. You feel
lighter about
soothed.
what?
The entire topic, because when you're feeling maybe not as great about the thing you want because you're focused on, I don't know how it's going to happen, doesn't make sense, like it makes no sense how this is going to work out for me, I can't see even one way, and when you just linger on the feeling of what it feels like, which is what we call practicing the vibration of it, or practicing the state of it, just letting yourself forget the manifested result and just focus on the feeling result, then what happens is that you start to feel lighter, and it starts to feel less of a problem in that moment. And in that moment is all that matters, because what you're manifesting for tomorrow or for the next moment is what you're feeling now.
Yeah.
And that's very dependable. Like that's very, very dependable, because although it seems like there's no science behind it, there is. It's just science that is not, for whatever reason, made easily available to us. But if you look it up, you can find plenty of stuff. Look up Joe Dispenza.
Quantum physics.
Yeah.
Joe Dispenza.
Dr. Emilio.
He is amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. So the first sign that, like for me, for example, when I was working on, I guess, manifesting my soulmate, I wasn't thinking about the end goal of when is he going to show up. I was thinking, this feels so good to feel like this right now, to just feel that someone's with me right now, to feel that someone's arms are around me, that I feel supported, that I feel appreciated, that I feel accepted. And I would go to sleep at night early, when I would like wait until the crack of dawn to go to bed before, because I couldn't sleep. But when I started doing this, I started just going to bed early just so I can fall asleep in that state, because it felt so good and it felt so soothing. And the first sign from the beginning, when I first started doing it, was that I got emotional. Like you'll tear up. Yeah, you might even sob. I don't know. There are certain things that will make you sob, but any kind of emotional reaction to that, what you're doing in your theta state, in your state akin to sleep, or in any moment, but it's more pronounced in those states. Any emotional reaction, any physical relaxation, if you feel your muscles relaxing, that's all evidence. Just like you're saying how you go to the gym and you know it's working because you see your muscles growing and you feel yourself getting stronger when you pick things up, let's say, you do directly see the difference in your body also when you're doing these things, because everything is, our body, our physical body is a reflection of our consciousness, what we're doing in our consciousness. So why do we get tense? Because we stress out. That's such an obvious connection, and people want to see it as a medical or scientific thing. But yeah, it's scientific. It's also an art. And it's a direct connection. When you get stressed out, you get tense. And remember we were talking about the law of inverse transformation. If a physical fact brings a psychological state, that psychological state will bring a physical fact. So if your body is tense, if your body is tense and you actually start to imagine your muscles relaxing in a meditation, or if you just start to remember what it feels like for your muscles to be loose, they'll actually start to relax a little bit.
Yeah, relax into it.
Yeah. So everything is connected, and I think the how we know we're doing something right, whatever technique or whatever you're applying, the whole point of that is just to soothe you and relax you. And we might think, oh, but I don't want to be soothed and relaxed and it not show up, but that's impossible, because the whole point of feeling ease about something and feeling better about something and feeling lighter about it is you're opening up that energy.
Yep.
You're opening up the channels, yeah. And the only reason that you didn't feel light before you did the technique is because your energy was all bunched up and blocking, you know.
That's powerful. You got to pay attention to your feelings. It's so important. And by the way, we'll wrap this up in about 10 minutes, I reckon. But just on that note, like, and guys, if you've just joined, just like type down like where you're from so that we can see like people, because as you like, I don't know if you guys have done lives before, but on Instagram you can't actually see the people like a Facebook live as is actually might have changed, but anyway, I can just see like Hype 021, I can see Lisa, I can see Jonathan Garcia 926, and I can see Lisa again. Man, Lisa's awesome. Like
Yeah.
you should, yeah, totally should totally commit. But anyway, super important to pay attention to the way you feel. And New Mexico, there you got an American friend, America. Layers from New, yeah. So my point is anyway, and I just want to touch on one thing really quick. Like, there's a ladder of emotion. Like, from Abraham, it's really hard. Like, sometimes people might feel guilty, like, I don't feel good, it's really hard to go from a really depressed state to euphoria.
It's impossible.
Actually, it's not really possible, actually. And I think that's something that I wish it was taught in school. Like, instead of people saying, like, let's be awesome, like, feel good. But I don't. And going back to what we said about validating whether we're doing the right thing, it's like Australia, it's the ladder of feeling. So it's about reaching for the next best feeling. And it may, and that there's a scale. So if you get, for example, Abraham says, if you feel angry and it makes you feel better than feeling really hopeless, there's a scale for it, guys. That's better in the short term. And I'm not saying like, go hate the world forever, but in the short term, that's actually okay because you're reaching for the next best thing. And I think not many people understand that. Again, we're not trying to change the world that way. We change ourselves and that affects the rest, but it's reaching for the next best thing. So coming back to what you said, if I'm looking for feedback that I'm on that ship and I'm getting to my destination, there's landmarks that I want to look up for along the horizon. Like, I want to see, like, if I'm coming to Australia, I want to see a massive kangaroo, like, no, in the distance, no. But like, so it's about the next feeling. So you mentioned feeling more relaxed. That's huge, by the way. Some people would probably think, how am I going to be relaxed? Like, just listening to this stuff stresses the hell out of me. Like, you know, but it may be, and like you said, muscles relaxing.
That's
like,
a huge indicator that you've
thing.
Actually changed something in consciousness.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys, like, as I start to wake up, I feel more relaxed. Like, I don't know if you guys heard, there were two birds. I love birds so much.
Yeah.
There were two birds that sat right
they were
there.
they were very much part of this video. It was very nice.
And you know, like, there are signs. Like, some people, so for example, birds are a sign. I was talking to my friend Argentina about this. She's into Reiki and all this other stuff, and not angel healing, but other modalities. It's not my, you know, I'm not into that so much. I don't know that much about it. But she was saying that even birds are signs. You know, birds at windowsills. So you guys might feel like, okay, I might not feel. So to summarize, it doesn't always have to be like you feeling super happy. It might be like you feel better, but the emotion might be like one of anger or frustration, but it still is better than hopelessness, for example. It may not even be a feeling. It may be something like a sign that comes up, like like a bird might appear on your windowsill, or insects might. Abraham has had a podcast before. Love the birds. There was a podcast about a guy that was attracting bees, and it landed on his nose. Have you heard that podcast? It was so funny that he was in alignment, and a bee 2 days in a row landed on his nose. Stuff like that doesn't just happen. If an insect, I've had ladybugs like fly onto my elbow, just like it's like a reminder. So again, this is not meant to be an animal fest, like, but basically there are signs, even if you don't feel it. What I'm trying to say, that are there.
You're at one with nature, and you're matching some kind of frequency that they can now understand. Because when we show up in our life as stressed out, as anxious, then what happens is that we repel the creatures, and if they show up for us, they are annoying to us. They show up in ways that seem annoying to us. But that, that's because that's what we're aligned with. So it's not even their choice. They're just everything that shows up will be annoying to them.
That's
but
right.
yeah, and no, as for like as for the emotional scale, it's absolutely because we just have not always been allowed to think that anger is better than depression, but it is. Anger is better than depression. Then revenge is actually better than anger, the feeling of revenge. Doesn't mean you have to act on it, but it's the next natural step. And then Abraham says that there's really only two emotions, if you want to really simplify it. There's one that feels good and one that feels bad, and it's all relative. So you're either going to feel a little better or a little worse. And it's funny because, yeah, there's like a lot of emotions in that emotional scale, and you can't really jump from the top to the bottom or bottom to top. However, you don't have to stay on each level a long time in order to earn, quote unquote, earn the next one, because it can happen actually really quickly. And I love it when Abraham's doing their like workshops, and someone asks a question and they're like, well, the guy was saying that I'm unemployed one time, and then they're like, Abraham said, well, I can tell you that you're not employable right now. And everyone was like, whoa, and then she's like, from your vibration, the way I can see you, that I see you, is that you're not employable. And then the guy's like, well, what am I going to do? And then she's like, I don't know, do you have like 15 seconds or 15 minutes? Because that's all it takes to become employable. See, so we see things as like so solid as like, but it doesn't take that long to move through vibrations. It's just that it seems like a big job because we're comparing them to like actions or ladders on the, rungs on the ladder of success. We see them as such hard steps, but it's not. We just feel our way through things. And sometimes it takes years, but it can only take minutes,
Yeah.
And either way is okay. It's just that why suffer through it if you can breeze through it in a way, comparatively.
That's it. It's meant to be a breeze, and there's different techniques for different levels too. In Abraham's book, Ask and Is Given, I think that's what's the one. There's different, like virtual reality we talked about in Clubhouse the other day, like imagining, like you said, how it would feel, to be in the utopian position that you want to be in. Different techniques actually work for different things. That's why it's good to consult, like to get ideas from the book, talk to Armin or whatever, like you want to do, because sometimes some techniques don't work. So you use virtual reality. That's what my understanding is.
Yeah, because again, what I do is I just merge Neville's teachings and Abraham's teachings, and
Nice.
Neville's all about living in the end. And what is that? That's what more or less what Abraham calls virtual reality. So living in the end would be just feeling yourself in that end. What is it like? Like create a very short and sweet scene of what would happen, what it would feel like, and what would be going on if this was already true. So it's such a pleasure to do. But again, if you're feeling very far from that on the vibrational scale, then it's not going to be something you're going to jump right into. You kind of have to be on the brink of it in order to allow yourself to feel it. And this is one of the things that people have trouble with Neville's teaching sometimes, because they say, well, how do I just get into the feeling of it?
Yeah.
Because, well, see here, I can bring in Abraham's emotional scale and be like, well, you don't have to jump into it right away, but you can ease into it, and I don't know, I just think it's so great how things complement each other, and there's always an answer, and it's always a soothing answer, because it's just like when you were a kid and your grandmother might have soothed you.
Yep.
It's in that way, except that we can do that for ourselves, and as we soothe ourselves, what are we doing? We're feeling more supported, and we're rising in consciousness, basically.
Absolutely. That's so powerful. We're always bringing it back to how you feel, getting there in the end. And it's so important. And I think Lisa mentioned about that podcast, about the woman looking for soulmate for herself. So just quickly, I love that podcast, and that's okay. I'll just share that. I mean, I'm sure you've got some opinion on that. I'm just responding. So there was a woman that from my memory said, like, how do I help my son get a soulmate, get a partner? Like, he's miserable. blah, 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 blah. And she's saying, and anyone you want to help, how do I help my mum find love again? How do I help my friend who's struggling through this health challenge? The thing is, you can't, she's saying you can't, because this is what's going to happen. Your son, in the state he is in now, which is frustrated, angry at the world, maybe he's not feeling right, he's going to walk around, and you know what's going to happen? He's actually going to attract someone. He's going to go to some party, he's going to go to some place, he's going to meet someone who's exactly like him, and they're going to bang it out.
Yeah.
Compatible at that point, but but they're both the same. They're both in a low place, and that may not last. And the other thing is that if one of them changes down the track in their vibration, that's where they fall apart, because energetically they're not the same anymore. So he's got to find a place where, like you said, find that feeling of relaxation, to maintain that. And that's what we mean when we talk about energy. He's going to attract someone that's just like.
That's why. Oh, froze up.
That's why it's super important. Yeah, that's why it's super important to have your point of attraction or your energy at the right level, because otherwise you just attract the same thing.
Yeah. Your video was freezing up a bit, so I think I got overall what you were saying, and that's exactly right. Is that if you're gonna attract what you're aligned with in that moment, and if you end that relationship and you think that that's the solution, that's the only solution, then you don't change your vibrational frequency, you don't you still stay in the same mindset, then you're going to attract someone just like that again. So it's not just about leaving relationships. A lot of times people leave relationships that they've grown out of, and they do rise in consciousness, they do change their frequency on the topic, and they do attract something better. But it's not just about walking away from one thing and then all of a sudden that in the same way that it makes room for the new, you have to make sure that the new you is aligned with what you want now, and not identifying anymore as the practice. Basically, what do I want? What does it feel like? What I actually want? What does that feel like? And then relationships naturally, natural way. And there's usually even no, and Abraham talks about this, there's even no need to pull away anymore, because it'll just, one person doesn't even want to be with you anymore because you're no longer aligned. Andrew, I think you're freezing up. I mean, at least on my end. I don't know if other people are seeing that, but.
Oh, that's okay. Oh, I'll just keep talking, but. Yeah. People might say oh, you weren't like this when we first met. You were this different person, and now, and sometimes one person changes, and that's why there's that disequilibrium, that feeling like it isn't quite what it was, when it's just the people's energy. It's just energy changing. And let's wrap it up. I think let's summarize what we talked about today. So I think there was some really good stuff that came out of it. It's nice to be able to speak it out, and I really appreciate what's something you'd like someone, because we listen to so many things, lots of Instagram videos, lots of advice given. What is one thing you'd say to someone that's listening who either wants to manifest or attract the partner, bank account, or job of their dreams, or whatever, or the lifestyle of their dreams? They haven't got it yet. What would you say to them?
Start identifying as the person who already has those things. Start seeing the people who already have those things and start relating to them and be like, yeah, that's me too. When you start seeing things around you that are the things you want, instead of thinking that they have that but I don't, start identifying as the person who does already have that thing. When you see couples in the street who are happy, start saying, yes, that's me too. and that's being shown to me because I'm somewhat aligned with it. When you start seeing people who are, you see someone making a big deposit in the bank, or someone being very well treated well in the bank because it's probably because they have a lot of money, then be like, yeah, I like that. That's me too. And it is you. Just because it's not a lie, it might feel like a lie at first, but only because we're not aware of the of the riches of the God within us. Okay, that's something Reverend I love. It's not that the only reason that we may feel like we're in moments of poverty, let's say, or of lack, let's say, is only because we're not aware of the riches within us that are God. So
good.
Because and it's because and honestly, feelings of poverty could be different. Like poverty could mean like, hungry on welfare or something, But poverty can also feel like to someone who's used to being a billionaire, now they're a millionaire, but they feel like they're lacking, And because for them that's, less comfortable, or maybe that's for them it's a problem, and we can't even judge, because hey, what if you want to know what it feels like, if you want to experience living in abundance, then it's not going to help you to judge people who are living in abundance. You know what I mean? So you have to see that everything's relative. Just like you might want to look at the whole picture and say, oh no, but I really have a right to complain, and these people don't. Everything's relative. Just like we were talking about how the emotional scale, and Abraham says there's no such thing as like really good, really bad, really, like when you get down to it. It's just like something that's a little better, a little worse. Because in this moment, we're only experiencing feeling a little worse or feeling a little better. It's only when you look at the whole big picture and you step back that you realize that, how far it goes. Sorry, I don't know if it's relative, but
no, that's good. Like I think people can really take that nugget away, and maybe it's not going to be applicable to you now, but it will click. A lot of these things, you've got them there, you got the tool, and then maybe one day you'll remember, like, oh, like, I mean, there's many people who are very skilled in many things. I think it's like, but then you think, oh, okay, Amin said this thing. Oh yeah, it makes sense. Like now in my life, like it may not be now, but in the future, this makes sense. This can help. So
yeah, that's all we can do. That's all we can do. Just plant seeds, because not everyone is ready. Not everything we hear is something that we're ready to absorb at that time. And just like when you and I talk about this stuff, we may have more experience talking about it because we talk about it to more people, or we've studied this and experienced this for longer. But just because we say something doesn't mean that it's going to be accepted or, absorbed right away. And it doesn't have to be, because we're just planting seeds here.
If we don't plant
the seeds, then we can't expect anything really.
Yeah, that's amazing. You hear what you're ready to hear. So, guys, if you're not already, like, follow Amin. She's awesome. She's as you know, she's a law of attraction coach. She'll help you get your dreams. No, I really appreciate you. You're awesome, guys. Thanks for everyone that popped on today.
Thank you, and my my people too. Definitely to my people, whoever's not following Andrew, definitely follow him. He's a ray of sunshine in your feed. I can tell you that.
Love that. Cool. All right. Yeah. Big love. Appreciate everyone, and go out. Have a good life.
Thank you. Thanks guys for coming, and thanks Andrew for this. Bye.
Bye.